Hey, welcome to this lesson where we are going to continue working with details. As you can see, I've created a superior layer to darken the one we had before, and now I'm erasing some areas of the illustration to create an effect similar to the reference image by emphasizing the contrast between lights and shadows and adding an original touch. Although you can see it now on the screen, I've grouped the layers pressing Ctrl E. And what I'm doing now is using the lights as color tones. I just created a new layer in multiply mode, as you can see now, yes. And I'm going to erase some areas to make her look as she were standing under the shadow of a tree. Although the contrasts and shades we are creating might seem irregular, if you look closely, this is the same that in the reference image. It even might look that these are marks of her skin, but it's just shades, effects, as in the real picture. So, if you want to do something similar, you just need to create a superior layer, select the inferior one to cover all the area you want to work with. After creating the multiply layer, we are going to fill it with a neutral color. I've chosen a light brown. And then, with the eraser tool, we'll be erasing bit by bit to get a result similar to this. We must be very careful. I've been inspired by the reference image, but I must confess that I'm adding the shades freely. Guys, as you can notice, it's a different layer and the effect is completely different to the reference image. But, as I said, it's just a matter of adding or deleting shades and lights, depending on the area you want to emphasize. In my case, I've decided to modify the hair because I find it a bit boring and lacks of details. As I said in the lesson on the sketch, I want to add the hair step by step, inserting gradually locks of hair and give our portrait a realistic appearance. Perhaps I'm exceeding with the green of the eyes, not sure. Perhaps I'll change it later. Anyways, this is something we can change during the drawing process. As you can see, I'm inserting shadows and lighter tones. Actually, right now I'm playing around with different brushes in the tool panel since I always use the same, so I don't really know which other options there are. Anyway, I'll be using the same that before since I know that they work fine. Well, the good thing with brushes is that if you want to imitate a tone of the area you are painting, we can use a useful shortcut. It is by pressing Alt. The brush will be activated directly, so we don't need to go to the panel to select the brush tool every time we want to change color. So guys, I highly recommend you use Photoshop constantly so that you can get to know it and become familiar with the tools and their shortcuts. After that, you realize that you are able to work faster. Let's say you are asked to do a job with a short deadline. If you aren't familiar with all the tools and options, your work will be slowed down and become a tiresome task, since every time you need a particular tool, you will have to stop what you're doing and then go to the panel to select it instead of turning it on directly with a shortcut. So, perhaps you could try to look for lists on the internet which include the commands and shortcuts. In this way, you'll have all them around to start using them. For example, I'm already familiar with some of them. I know that B is for brush, E for eraser, I for eyedropper, C for cropping out. Plus, if you don't find this helpful, we can go to Edit and then we'll find a menu where we'll be able to change the shortcuts and apply those we find more useful. Let's say we aren't happy with B for brush, and I don't know, we prefer A. In this menu, we'll be able to change B for A and then use it when drawing. What I did at the beginning and became used to it was using X and Z for increasing and reducing the brush size. This allows me to change constantly the size using the keys instead of going to the panel each time I need a different brush. As you can see, the illustration is almost finished and now I'm just perfecting it by adding some final lights, shadows and other details which I find necessary. I could even take the reference image away, I think. So, once you have everything structured, we could change the color, perhaps to a darker tone to add depth to the parts close to the backside, like I'm doing here, where I'm adding some locks of hair. Let's also add lighting effects and shadows to the forehead, some shadows to the chin. Great. Can you see this yellow line I'm drawing here? It's a secondary line I just decided to insert to add more volume to the final illustration. If you remember, the reference image didn't have all these lines, but I'll add them anyways. Okay, let's add some wrinkles to the dress. And after that, we are going to work with the layers on the top and try out different blend modes, which can be of great help when adding greater emphasis to certain areas. Like the screen mode is a good one. Well, guys, you might wonder what's my thing with the eyes. Okay, well, the thing is that I didn't like the previous color, so I'll opt for a brown tone. A subdued tone and lighten it with lighting effects. Well, I hope that you liked this course, that you found it useful and that you learned a lot. What I'm doing now is just adapting the head to a squared format, as I said before. And yeah, this would be the final result of this project. So guys, see you in future courses. If you felt that it hasn't been enough, I'll leave you an extra class on how to do a quick illustration doing our best. So guys, see you soon.